Well, hello there. I'm Mr. Sorenzo.
Quick heads up.
If you are planning to buy a budget electric guitar, mid to low level, especially models made in China or Indonesia, you should know that the prices are already trending up and more price increases are really likely for the rest of the year. In this brief video, I'm going to show you the evidence of these claims, but also what it means for you as a buyer. Let's have a talk about it. You care about this because it's money going out of your pocket, and you care about it now because number one, the price increases are going to happen a lot quicker than you might anticipate. And number two, this time of the year, a lot of companies release all their new models. And as we all know, most affordable entry-level electric guitars, Squier by Fender, Epiphone by Gibson, PRS SE, and so on, are either made in Indonesia or in China. So let's talk about this. Evidence one. The retailers are not keeping this a secret at all. If you go back to an announcement that came in Sweetwater in March this year, they talked about the price increases as much as 25% in the coming months. This month and the rest of this year are those months that they were talking about. But the reality is that the introduction of new tariffs, just this resetting of financial relationships between the United States and countries like China or Indonesia or Mexico, has increased the cost of raw material. But the thing that most people don't talk about is the fact that there has been a lot of on and offness going on, a lot of fluctuation in this whole tariff talk on the news these days. And that creates a lot of uncertainty. And that comes with its own financial and intangible costs. For example, more uncertainty means higher insurance premiums of different sorts. So all of this is going to increase the final cost of the guitars, and guess who is going to pay for that increase? Which is a perfect segue for evidence too. A lot of companies operate on credit. As an example, Moody's, which is an established American credit rating agency, has forecasted that Fender's operating costs are going to go up by $20 to $25 million. As per Moody's report, FMIC's corporate credit rating was downgraded from B2 to B3, which basically says that they believe that Fender has a higher risk of defaulting. Oh, and by the way, they reduced Fender's secure loan rating from B3 to CAA1. The reduction in these ratings is going to increase the cost of debt and cost of credit for a company like Fender, but frankly, any other company that have some sort of a levered way of doing their finances. And that also means more expensive guitars for us. Which brings us to evidence three, derivative models. One of the things that big companies like Fender, for example, do is that they produce derivative models from the affordable model that the cost to produce them is not really higher or significantly higher, but they sell it at a significantly higher price. And a very good example of that is their Squier Telecaster model. So I'm on Sweetwater's website right now, so all the prices are current as of the recording of this video. You have the Squier Sonic Telecaster at $230. You have the Affinity series at $370. Then you have the 50s Classic Vibe at $450. And then you have the 70s Classic Vibe at $470. The reality is that the cost to produce each of these guitars for Fender is not that different. Every minor detail that might be different between these guitars are mass produced. Everything. It might be a little Bigsby there, it might be a little humbucker there. Given the fact that big companies like Fender have a massive advantage when it comes to the economy of scale, economy of size, right? They bulk purchase, they bulk produce. But what that means is that a Squier model that is sold for $230 or $370 is now sold for $470. And that means at least a 30% increase. There is good evidence that in all likelihood, Chinese and Indonesian-made electric guitars are going to feel at least a little bit of upwards pressure when it comes to their price. I mean, if you trust Sweetwater's report, they're talking about 25%. Also bear in mind that the changes that we talked about are in the realm of mid-low range budget electric guitars, but there are some dynamics in play. So let's talk about this guitar just as an example. This is last year's model, if I'm not wrong. It's currently selling at $450, brand new. Now let's just assume for a second that November this year, the 2026 model gets announced, and that one is selling for, say, $520. If somebody's selling this particular guitar secondhand, they can sell it for that much more. So let's just say I'm selling this guitar secondhand for $300, and now I know that the price of this guitar is going up, so I'm gonna sell it for $350 secondhand. Because I know that if you want to buy it firsthand, you're gonna have to pay more for this now. So what this means for you and I, unfortunately, it means more expensive guitars that are made in Indonesia or China, which is a big chunk of the low mid-level market. But there are things you can do to get a really good deal on an electric guitar. Number one is that understand that the local market usually is cheaper than the online market when it comes to secondhand stuff. If you do a bit of a comparison between, say, Facebook markets, where you can go locally and buy a guitar secondhand from a neighbor, somebody in the same suburb or a different suburb, right? The cost of that guitar in the same condition is usually much less than what you can find on Reverb, for example, which is the biggest secondhand online guitar market. The reason for that is really simple. If you're selling it to your neighbors, the demand for it is a lot less. If you're selling it online to everybody in the world, then you sell it online to everybody in the world, right? Now, there are reasons why somebody wouldn't want to buy something off from Reverb or sell something off from Reverb. For example, if you buy from Reverb, you don't get to actually play the secondhand guitar, and that's really important considering the fact that it's a secondhand electric guitar. Facebook markets and Gumtree and services like that get you in touch with those people, but then what this means is that you have to understand what to look for. You have to understand how to buy a secondhand electric guitar. How do you do those inspections, those quality checks to make sure that you're getting something that is decent? And if you guys are interested in this, subscribe to the channel. The number of subscribers from this video tells me how many people are actually interested in learning how to buy secondhand guitars. I've bought tens of different electric guitars, first and second hand. So I got a few things that I can actually teach you there. The second thing you can do is to buy the older version of the same guitar that you want during times where there are a lot of specials, end of financial year, end of the year, Christmas time, things of that nature. So for example, Strandberg Guitars literally yesterday announced the release of their new Bowden N2, basically the second version, the next evolution of their Bowden electric guitar models. Okay, if I want to buy a Strandberg guitar with the same neck, kind of same body and all that jazz, instead of buying the new model, I would buy the first version, the older model, but during Christmas time, but during the end of financial time. Hopefully that made sense. Hope this helped. With that said, thanks so much for hanging out. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care of yourself.